Guys, this is going to be between Nezi and ChEDo. I think this is a rematch, isn't it? It's, yeah.
Yep.
Nezi and ChEDo on Metropolis. So, rematch on map and between players. So, hopefully, guys, you're excited for some PvZ action. It's actually going to be a blast to catch. These guys are really duking it out. I don't think this is for a spot in the finals, is it? It might be.
It's a spot for the losers finals.
Okay, so the winner of this is going to go on to face Nubrigini in the finals. So, you know, we never know. We might see Nubrigini, you know, be able to duke it out and make it back into the finals. But for now, between ChEDo and Nezi, this is going to be figuring out who is going to be the winner of the losers finals. So, hopefully, we're going to see some sick games. Jumping into that now, guys. So, we're going to be good to go.
All right. I'm actually excited to see this. Again, this match again, we might see an epic game number 1, like we saw in Metropolis game number 2 in the first series that we casted, and we might see ChEDo reacting properly this time because he might, you know, like it takes a while before someone processes an opponent and decides on what he should do to avoid those same situations again. So we might see an improvement here from ChEDo, and also the same thing from Nezi. He lost to Nubrigini, a ZVZ player, or it was a ZVZ matchup, but then again, Nezi, I'm pretty sure he hates to lose, and I'm pretty sure he's still dedicated to making it to the finals.
Absolutely, guys. So spawning down here in the bottom right-hand side of our map, GSL's Metropolis, we have LGD ChEDo.
And on the 9 o'clock, or in the 3 o'clock position, we have the Orange Zerg, Exion Nezi. So this is indeed Metropolis. It is a 4-player map, as we already mentioned. We have 2 Slinger Towers in the middle, with tons of expansion. So there is another good chance that we are going to see another epic match here, another 45-minute match. But then again, the question is, are they going to let it go through it again? We might see a faster reaction or a faster build order from one of these guys. We will have to see.
Yeah, you know, you never know. They might try to end it quickly, especially since they've been playing all day. They're probably quite tired, but we're going to have to see, you know, what these players choose to do. It's going to be a treat to watch, absolutely. So we just see a standard forward pylon coming out from ChEDo, so it looks to indicate that he will be indeed doing a fast expand, whereas, especially with Nezi, we're probably going to see his pool go down as soon as he pops off a few more drones.
Yes, indeed. And looks like the probe is already out there, not really, and again, not harassing that expansion area of Nezi. So that was one of the key things that we saw from the other Protoss player. I forgot his name already. Take It. I think, is it? Take It?
Handle It.
There you go. Handle It was able to harass the expansion of Nezi for a good amount of time, but then again, still failed to successfully beat Nezi because he was just going for like cheesy build. But then again, ChEDo here, I'm pretty sure he has more legitimate build orders than what Handle It has. So we will see what he's gonna do here. Looks like he is gonna go for another expansion, early expansion here as well.
So we just see the pool, or rather the hatch, go down at 15 now, as the pool is almost done. And this is completely standard. This prevents the sort of cannon rushes that we saw coming out of Handle It. We just see the Forge now going down. So this will not be a Nexus first type of build, but the Nexus is going to go down right now. So yeah, this will be pretty standard from both players. We'll have to see who's gonna, you know, make the first sort of move aggressively.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell right now. Forge going down. It's gonna be a while. So we're gonna have a standstill here for a few moments. Shoutouts, I guess, again to our sponsors, Antec and Kingston HyperX.
Yeah.
Very, very awesome people. Awesome job. Keep on keeping esports alive and keep on supporting esports as well.
Absolutely. Also, guys, go ahead and follow me on Twitter if you like my stuff. I'm at Pixie Starcraft, and follow my co-caster here at WawaSC. And follow us on Twitter for updates and humorous ramblings.
YouTube, yeah, Wawa Starcraft, and him, Pixie Starcraft on YouTube.
Yes, sir, this is correct, I believe. Yep, Pixie Starcraft, I think that is my YouTube. I'm just gonna say, I'm a live caster. I don't upload too many replays, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. But you can tune in if you want to see it. You can go ahead and subscribe.
Well, what tournaments do you usually cast? Where can people?
Well, normally I'm trying to do stuff here and there on Playhem. You might see me doing a Playhem daily occasionally. Sometimes I do stuff for you know, independent tournaments. I have done stuff for the Nebraska Esports Association. So I'm sort of all over the place. It's You probably haven't seen too much of my stuff, but I like to think that I'm sort of, you know, a jack of all trades in that sense. Where can people find you when you're not casting these excellent SPGL games?
Well, usually I'm on YouTube basically. I'm uploading a lot of stuff over there. Still, like last week also, I've been uploading a good amount of stuff. I've been live streaming recently actually, like live streaming mostly local Philippine events. I'm pretty sure a lot of people here are not really interested in watching local, like foreigner, nobodies play. But then again, for me, it's amusing. It's seeing my community grow and develop their
Do you
skills.
cast that in your native language, or I guess I don't want to say native language, but in the Philip? Sorry, what's the
And
language? Is it Tagalog or?
Tagalog,
Yeah,
yeah, you would
Tagalog.
know it. Wow, that's awesome.
Did you cast? Do you
Well,
cast in Tagalog or
I
English?
don't cast in Tagalog. I could cast in Tagalog, but I'm actually approaching, or I'm trying to approach a more global audience
Oh yeah.
so that, you know, they get maybe with my casting, with my help of casting, they can understand on what the players are doing, even though there's like a language barrier. So,
Oh wow, that's
you
actually
know,
really good.
it's
That's really
actually like
interesting.
grabbing more, maybe global sponsors as well, maybe for future tournaments. I did host a ton of tournaments back in the day for the community. Can't really get any sponsors yet though, because I'm a nobody back then.
Oh yeah, well, I mean to be fair, it's always good to sort of do stuff for the esport community, and at the same time, speaking of casting, I might just want to remark on the fact that we do see a robo now coming out from ChEDo.
Yep.
So this is actually going to be interesting. I assume that because he's walled off his front completely, he's just going to go ahead and take that third base, relatively uncontested. I mean, especially once you get the Immortal out there. So actually, two Lings actually being killed by that cannon by Nezi, just checking to see that he actually cannot indeed run by that pylon. So we're gonna have to see, you know, now with the Immortals coming out, we're probably gonna see that third base be taken, and then finally we're gonna see an engagement, I would assume.
Yeah, most likely it's gonna happen very, very shortly. Roach Warren just started here for Nezi though, and Evo Chamber on the way as well. He wants to get some upgrades, I believe, as soon as possible. The Robo facility is about done with the first Immortal as well. Sentry just hanging out, nothing really, like no movement. Actually, just both players actually just maxing out their probe count, as we do have harvesters right now. We have the Zerg at 54 harvesters, and for the Protoss we have 44 harvesters. And yeah, it's a good lead right there for Nezi. He should be able to take a pretty good lead here in terms of like the wood supply count in general.
Yeah, generally Zergs are going to do that, just going to jump ahead
Mhm.
because they can just produce units so quickly. But we do see Immortal production now coming out, along with these sentries and 3 more gates being added. So this will be a defensive position where he will go ahead and establish that third base in around the 10-minute mark. Now we'll have to see if he's going to grab his Twilight Council or if he's going to wait until he has that third base. And at the moment, we see coming out from Nezi, we see some a Roach style of play. Now he did throw down both an Evolution Chamber and a Roach Warren at around the 720 mark, so that generally indicates that he's probably going to be going for some sort of Stefano style. Now he might not go full Stefano, he might not try and max at the 12-minute mark, but that's generally the style of play that we see players like Stefano who really enjoy that mass Roach style of play go to. They generally go up to about 60 drones and then make a lot of Roaches.
Yeah, because really roaches can really do a lot of stuff for a Zerg army. Like it really can do like harass, put pressure, even though you're not really doing a lot of damage. You're putting the pressure. You're making your opponent think that, oh man, he's gonna go for it. He's gonna just all in me. But then again, at the back or at the back of the base of like the Zerg player, is just maxing out his food supply with just drones and making another another base. So there's really a lot of things the roaches can do and such. Like there's a lot of flexibility if you have that early roach like army.
Now we do see that a lot of sentries, 6 on the map right now, and more being warped in right now, 4 more, and 3 more gates being added. So this will be a 7-gate attack with a lot of Immortals, and this might do fair damage, just because on Metropolis the third base is so hard to get to via the natural. You need to go all the way around, unless you have these rocks broken down, and it looks like Nezi does not have those rocks broken down. So we'll have to see how this pressure fares. At the same time, a warp prism being flown across the map, that might just be so he doesn't have to keep building pylons. And we're going to see an engagement right here as these roaches are going to get caught in here and completely taken out. Now the sentries need to be careful because they're going to get sniped really quickly. 2 sentries going down. A third one is dangerously close. 3 sentries have gone down, but he has killed a lot of roaches and still has a lot of sentries left over. So these roaches need to be very careful as the Immortals are just so good at tearing them down.
Yeah, definitely. I would have gone for at least one Immortal because these 3 Immortals can just easily melt away all those roaches. But again, sentries are also pretty much a good choice. But then here we go. He's going to try to go for one of those sentries. Again, there's just too many sentries here to just kill them off. Like, it's going to be efficient. Whatever happened, Nezi though is at 124 food supply against the 93 of ChEDo. So is he going to be able to produce enough units here for defense. We will see in just 1 second. Good force spread, trapping all those roaches. Now focusing fire on one of those immortals. The one immortal did go down. A second one not being focus fired, but then again, more units are being warped in right now here for ChEDo. ChEDo right now is going to be completely decimating all the roach army of Nezi. Nezi right now in a huge trouble.
Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult spot to fight from, as 10 lings are being built right now, but is it even enough? The third base is in an extremely dangerous spot. Well, GG,
And
that's it.
GG. He knew already that he was really behind after losing all those army. He knew that he should have not engaged that, because there was still some room for those roaches to get out from that initial clash. But then again, he chose to just focus fire on the sentries. He could have gone for the immortals, as I've said. He could have made that army a lot weaker without those immortals. But then again, chose to go for the sentries, and it didn't really pay out for him. Yeah, good game though by ChEDo, as we said, adjusting to the playstyle of Nezi, taking game number 1.
Now, that is going to be very interesting. This is a best of 3, meaning that we're going to have to go to another game, absolutely, to see who's going to be facing off Optic Nubergini in the best of 5 series. Is it going to be Nezi, or is it going to be ChEDo? That 7-gate push worked extremely effectively. There were really good force fields that left the engagement definitely in ChEDo's favor. So we're going to have to see how Nubergini is going to be faring against that. Hey guys, welcome back right now to the Semi-Pro Gaming League, guys. Check them out on SPGL. .tv. Jumping into game number 2, this is going to be on Daybreak between our Protoss and Zerg, ChEDo and Nezi. So let's jump right into this, guys. Spawning down here in the bottom left-hand position on GSL Daybreak, we have Exion's Nezi.
And on the top right, we have the yellow Protoss LGD ChEDo. We are back here, ladies and gentlemen, on Daybreak, the 1v1 giant map that everyone pretty much loves to play on, because we've been playing on this map all day. So I guess it is indeed a pretty good map, and a lot of people do favor this map the most, I guess. And we do see ChEDo actually performing. Gonna be the same thing again. He really likes that really fast opening, or 2 base expansions right there, which is pretty much understandable.
Yeah, so, I mean, in this series, it looks like both players are tied up even. And wait, this is a best of 5 series. I was under the impression that it was a. Oh wait, no. I guess in history, these players, yeah.
He's joking.
He's joking, but it seems that ChEDo's a little bit confused there, but sorry.
You're out of it now.
I'm out of it, man. He told the joke, and I'm sitting there like I don't know what to say.
He got you.
The joke was like mediocre, and I'm still like tongue-tied because I can't think of anything to say afterwards. But yes, the pool goes down at 14, standard pool timing, and this probe is going to go in here and harass a little bit.
Oh yeah. So it's actually pretty interesting if ChEDo will do the same thing that he did earlier today, because it is still pretty viable on this map as well. But then again, Nezi would be expecting that to happen if ever that is the case, or maybe not. Like, there was a that was actually a poor decision again by Nezi to engage the army of ChEDo. I guess he didn't expect that the army would be that powerful to destroy his roach army, because he did have a good amount of roach, but those immortals, man, they just really go through roaches. It's like one volley from each of those instantly kills off one roach. They're pretty good.
Yeah, immortals are quite strong against these roaches. I mean, especially when we see plays with a lot of roaches, which are becoming more and more popular these days. Having that immortal, especially in those pushes, is just going to be so effective. So we just see the Nexus go down now, along with the Forge. Second base is now complete for, or rather halfway done for Nezi. We're going to see a third base come out of our Zerg player relatively shortly. So we do see that this is going to be a standard game all around. Now, the photon cannon actually went down before the gateway just to allow, that cannon to finish up just quickly in case any lings decided to pop out. We do see 2 lings on the way right now.
Yep. As a pros player, man, do you like losing immortals?
Man, losing immortals is the is really it's a bummer because they're just so expensive to make, and I mean, it's really hard to lose them because they only take 10 damage per shot, and then obviously once their shields are gone, that's not the case anymore, but they're just so effective. I mean, when you have a lot of them, and, their shots are so powerful, they're like a fist, basically, and you're just punching whatever in the... Basically, they don't shoot bullets, they shoot fists, and those fists punch the roaches in the face. And, man, they're pretty strong fists. So maybe we'll see another push like that, but we are seeing both gases now go down for our Protoss player, third base, and they go down for our Zerg, so standard stuff all around.
Yep. As you said, those immortals are really strong, especially against those hard or those heavy or those medium opponents, medium type units, and they do the 50 damage. And also it's an instant damage, like there's no like missile that's on the way. It doesn't take you like a split second to get to your opponent. It just hits you real quick, and it just really does the damage, which is really, really helpful. And the fire it's actually pretty good as well. I think it fires as fast as a Marine without stim, is it?
Now,
I think so.
I think that I mean that's a pretty rapid rate, especially for Immortals. But I know that I mean like units.
No?
We can check it out if he decides to make them. We can check out the attack rate. But I mean,
Yeah,
like
we can check it out.
units that you think would never have high DPS have the highest DPS, like siege tanks. Siege tanks, when they're not sieged, their DPS is
Yeah.
ridiculous, and then when they're sieged up, their DPS is, you know, I think the lowest in the game. So
Yep.
it's pretty interesting to see, you know, the differences. Now we do see one Zealot moseying away across the map, going to be chipping away. This is probably actually going to go ahead and snipe the Queen, and we saw it last game too. We actually saw Nezi actually lost the Queen that he was planning to send to his third, and in this game he actually compensated for that by, you know, go ahead not losing the Queen. So it's really cool to see him adapt on the fly to these sort of plays that ChEDo's throwing at him.
Yep, that is true. And I think right now Nezi has a good position here of taking a huge a good amount of advantage over ChEDo, just because he is doing whatever he wants right now after the 6-minute mark, and he's actually just producing a ton of drones, and that's what you want as a Zerg player. Just continue producing drones. He's not even being forced by ChEDo to make those more Zerglings, because there is no pressure coming in or whatever kind of such. So that's why he is looking pretty good. And also the same thing, we can really see that ChEDo isn't really doing that good as well, because he does have a good amount of harvester count as well. He's stacking up some chrono boosts here. So I'm wondering what he's gonna be able to do with those chrono boosts. Maybe he's gonna research warp gate faster, I guess.
Now we do see 3 gateways on the way along with the Robo, so this might be an expansion, or it might be the same push that we saw last game, and especially with these the Immortals that are coming out right now. So we do see the 4 gates are up. Now if he decides to go up to anything above a 6, I would assume that this will be some sort of pressure push that is coming, and Overlord is going to skirt in and see these additional 3 gateways that are being added.
Yes, indeed. So he's gonna know what to expect from the base of ChEDo. But then is he gonna be able to see the rogue facility though? Let's see. Doesn't look like he is gonna reach, or is he? This is gonna be pretty exciting. Oh no, that was kind of exciting. Yeah, I was wondering if he's gonna be able to see the rogue facility. But then again, if he sees the Immortal, it's almost pretty much a giveaway already. Immortals are pretty good, as we have said. But then again, as you said, it's pretty hard to use though.
Yeah, that's a very good point. These pushes, you need to be so careful because of all the sentries that, you know, come with it. You need to be very careful microing all the force fields out. And we're seeing the Twilight Council of that, so that tells me that he is 100% going to be going for that third base. I mean, getting that Twilight Council at this timing just seems so indicative of it, and especially he's getting a second Immortal out, not adding on those extra gateways. So we will be seeing a third base coming out for from ChEDo. No, you know, 7-gate shenanigans. They worked out from this time, but you know he. You know, you never really want to do something twice unless you're in the GSL finals. So,
Oh my god,
that was pretty funny, guys. For people who have, I don't want to spoil. I'm not going to spoil anything, but one player did the same build 2 times, like back to back.
3 times, isn't it? 3 times he went for like that build. 3 times he won that way.
Maybe, but one of the players in the GSL finals, which, as you know, was between SKMC and LGIM Seed. It was pretty interesting. So one Overlord is actually going to go ahead and get sniped now, and his roaches are actually making their way across the map to potentially deny this third base.
He is gonna try to deny it. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but then again, the army is pretty far away now. Has he even popped down the Nexus yet? No. Zergling's also on guard there, just in case a probe just walks his way towards that area. He does have a lot of minerals though, so he should be plopping down that base really soon. And on the other side, we do see 13 roaches being made here, and +1 upgrade, missile upgrade is almost done here for Nezi as well, so we should see an engagement very, very soon. Oh, I guess that's why he's not plopping down the third base, because he senses that Nezi is going to go for harassment very, very shortly.
So we do see actually 2 more gateways and a Robo Bay going down, so he's actually decided to forgo getting that third base entirely, and he's actually just going to hold off a little bit and wait till these roaches all come out. Yeah. Now, he looks like he's going to be going ahead and maxing on roaches. He is 44 on the field right now. So, I mean, if this were to push a third base, the third base would have to be canceled, obviously. We are seeing seeing +2 now being researched. So it looks like he has, on top of this Warp Prism, looks like he's going to be going for a 6-gate with Colossus, or potentially we might even see Speed Prism. That might be a little more common. So it looks like, oh, here we go, we're going to see an engagement right now. These roaches are going to be going up. Good force fields picking off a couple of roaches, but he needs to be careful not to lose too many of these zealots. Actually, grabbing a lot of roaches, going to be snapping off and grabbing a lot of them, and he's reduced the count all the way down to 37, so he killed about
five or six.
5 or 6. So yeah, relatively good. Now, is he going to go ahead and take the 3rd base now, or is he going to? He might be just doing a 2-base Colossus push, which would be quite interesting if he decided to do that.
Well, if he does that, I think it's a standard. Isn't it a standard play also for like a Protoss player to do like a 2-base all-in timing pushes? But then again, there are a lot of immortals here. So we will see how Colossus will factor in as well. We do see +3 with weapon upgrade being researched right now here for the Protoss player. That's one of the really good advantages of Protoss is just upgrading. Your upgrades can be easily reached. Like level 3 is really easy to get.
Ooh, now in the main base we are seeing some Zealots run in there. The Warp Prism that they arrived in on was sniped, but they're actually going to go in here and see the Spire and try to snipe as many drones as they can. They will lose their lives to all the roaches, which have returned home, but in the meantime this is going to buy them time to get that 3rd base about halfway done right now. And we're going to see Colossus out on the field. 7 Corruptors, however, are in production.
Yes, indeed. And finally, we did see the Nexus being popped down here by ChEDo. He's still behind by 50 food supplies, so he should just wait a bit. He should wait a bit until he's maxed out, and then he should push out, because most likely whenever he's at 200, Exio is gonna have a hard time beating him.
Yeah, I mean, once you're at 200 with the Protoss Death Ball, especially on 4 base, that can really, be a helping hand. And we are seeing creep spread is being pushed about halfway across the map, so good creep spread coming out from our Zerg player, who's about to max at around the 14-minute mark. Now, adding these Corruptors on, want to make sure you have the supply for those Corruptors, as the Roaches do take up a bulky amount of supply right there. And we are seeing a lot of Spines being added up with the 3rd base, which is indicative of the fact that he's probably going to go ahead and go up to Broodlords relatively soon, because he wants to, stay safe in there. However, he's also going to go ahead and these Corruptors are also very good at attacking Colossus, and he's actually going to go ahead and press the 3rd base right now. He's going to cast Corruption and kill the Colossus, and then get on out of there. So, good call from Nezi, just eliminating the Colossus and then flying out. And we do see the Infestation Pit is now just about to finish up in his, I believe in his natural expansions, which means that he has a choice to go right on up to Hive, and if so, I think that would be a good choice.
Definitely going up to Hive and then transitioning to Broodlord. That's pretty much what happened in the other game, where Nezi pretty much almost won it, but again, ChEDo pulling up the victory on that game as well. Oh, very nice forces right here. He's gonna trap a bunch of roaches. Very, very good play right there. I'm pretty sure that is worth the energy that the sentry spent over there. Very good job. He pretty much cut the roach army of Nezi like a quarter. Very good job. But then again, we do see Nezi is gonna be expanding here as well by the top left corner of the map. And also inside the map as well. Very nice.
He's actually going to go ahead and double expand, which is good. And he's actually going to move all these spine crawlers down, and they need to be careful because if they don't burrow in time, this army could do some damage. However, the big destructible degrees are in the way right now, so a lot of spines are out here, which is good. Now, we do see the Hive is about halfway done, and that means there's about 2 minutes left before we could see Broodlords on the map. And he's just going to go, or by he, I mean our Protoss player, is just going to go around and try to snake these Overlords and, kill off some detection for Nezi, who is almost maxed right now. I mean, it's good to see Nezi, trying to pressure with these roaches and trading armies, because, once you reach that max level, that's all you can really do. Build up that bank, pressure with your army, and now that the Greater Spire, or rather the Hive done, we're going to see the Greater Spire start immediately.
Oh, definitely. And he's actually researching all the stuff for War Prism that we saw from the first set that they played, the War Prism speed, and I believe the pylon mode, I believe, is the other upgrade. But yeah, he's doing those things again, so he's gonna be able to utilize like warping in a lot of units from different locations whenever a clash happens. And that's pretty much one of the advantages of having a Warp Prism, is that you can just warp in whatever you want, whenever you want, which is pretty cool. And here we go. I think we are about to see engagement here very shortly. ChEDo is actually just waiting and waiting and waiting around that tight choke, because you want Nezi to go in that tight choke and force the engagement in that area, because that's pretty much where the army of ChEDo is in a good advantage. Because of those Colossus, they do a lot of damage and they stack as well.
This looks like two
damage.
Zealots back up in the top left-hand corner, going to be taking out a lot of the Spine Crawlers. However, Nezi did have the good intuition to cancel those before they died. And we're just seeing a big engagement going on in the middle of the map, taking out a lot of Spine Crawlers before the Broodlords have done. The Greater Spire is going to finish right now. These Colossus need to be so careful they don't get corruption and then killed. It looks like they need to be, or by they I mean ChEDo has to be so careful. The maxed army is doing so much damage as ChEDo is literally plummeting in supply as he is getting supply blocked. But he needs to be careful throwing out Infested Terrans as all of these roaches are getting picked off one by one. 20 Lings are on the way and he's going to have to pull back quickly.
Yeah, very, very good engagement right there by Nezi. Still on max count right there. Very, very good job. What is he producing now? He is actually just maxing out on Zerglings, which is kind of okay on a really, really emergency situation. But then again, right now he is forcing ChEDo away and back to his main base. And now Nezi is stuck with 100 supply of Zerglings, which I don't think it's not really the best composition, but then it's really good against this composition of Stalkers and Immortals. Oh my god.
Good blink away, followed by those excellent force fields to make sure none of the Zerglings can get a surround on them. Stalkers are going to have to blink away again for sure. A Colossus is about to pop out, but he's going to lose all of his army. That's going to force the cancel on the 4th base. Absolutely, for sure. He's going to have to force that cancel.
Very, very good job right there by Nezi, killing off the Immortal and forcing those Stalkers to blink away from the Immortal to instantly just killing it. And we do have an Archon here morphing in now. Those Archons are pretty good against Zerglings, and that's pretty much going to force the army of Nezi away or not. Maybe he's going to try to pick off this expansion right here. We'll see in just a second. He could initially do that, but again, there is already a Colossus in the field, and he's just going to lure away all those roaches away from that Nexus. Will he be able to pick it off? We will see in just a second. He is about to kill it. Yes, indeed. The Nexus goes down. That is a huge loss right there by ChEDo.
And we do see Broodlords are on the map right now. We have about, I think, 8 Broodlords right in front of this army. And the Mothership is about to complete, and if he can get that Mothership out, he'll be in a decent spot. However, he will not have enough for a Vortex. And we do see the Broodlords are just sort of parking on outside. The supply difference is around 90. So, I mean, at this point, he's got to get some Archons out there. The Mothership is about to pop. Here it comes. Justice has come, because the Mothership is now out on the field. He'll be grabbing it with that army now. He needs to defend that 3rd base in case any pressure decides to come, and he kind of read his mind in the sense that that army is now heading down to pressure on that 3rd base.
Yes, indeed. And look, is he going to commit to this 3rd base? I think it's a little bit harder to go in the 3rd base, actually, because there's a good amount of gateway wall right there with a couple of wooden cannons, and it's actually easier to get you on a choke there. But we'll see in just one second. These Broodlords are actually going to do the initial damage and just easily chip away on those gateways. Those gateways HP are going down so fast, so quick. One gateway already goes down. Wooden cannons aren't even a factor here because those Broodlords are just easily regeneratable, or is that even a word?
I believe so, actually, but it looks like the Mothership is sticking with the army. It's going to be moving around now. It does have enough for a Vortex, so it needs to be a little bit careful, but he's going to go ahead and lose the 3rd base. So, I mean, at this point, he needs to do something with this army he has here, because there's no way that he's going to have any money after this point. I mean, he's sitting on 50 probes on only 2 base. He's not in a good spot. So this army is sort of the army he's going to be stuck with for the rest of the game. And if he loses a part of that army, I mean, that's pretty much it, because he needs basically every part of this army to stay alive if he wants to do damage to this big Broodlord force.
Yep, he is oversaturated in his natural base. Nothing really, no mining at all in his main base. So he's really, really in a pickle right now, and he needs to do something. Maybe go for a counterattack, force his opponent to react, and just follow him around. And I don't know, it's going to be pretty difficult. Here we go, he's going to try to pick up some of the Infestors. One Infestor did go down, but again, that's all that he can do. Oh, good job right there. Good Vortex catching all of those Corruptors, and definitely going to do a lot of damage right here. Oh, catching one more Broodlord in there. More Overseers as well. Just going in the Vortex. What are you guys doing? They just wanted to die, but then here we go. Those Archons are not enough in numbers, and they barely did any damage to the Corruptor army. Very, very good job right there by Nezi, and I think Nezi is set up to win this matchup. And there is the GG. Good game by Nezi, taking game number 2 of this best of 3 series, and now we are 1 game away on finding out who is gonna be making it to the losers bracket finals. Will it be Nezi or will it be? I forgot the name.
Oh, sorry, in the finals.
Oh, ChEDo.
ChEDo, yeah.
Wow. Keep forgetting the name because I keep seeing the D in front of the.
Yeah, well, that random capitalization can do that, guys. Yeah. It's pretty confusing. It's to be fair. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw up an ad, and we'll be right with you with game number 3 after this. Ohana. Well, actually, before we talk about Ohana, let's talk about that last game. Now, we saw some sort of, we didn't know if ChEDo was going to be going for the 2-base Colossus or the 3-base. We saw sort of some, he was unsure whether he was going to go ahead and take that third base. What do you think was his reasoning behind not taking that third?
Well, yeah. Well, actually, we're actually watching the lobby chat right now, and I'm reading that ChEDo is saying that he was actually gonna try to go for a three-base push, but he actually just got too scared, which is kind of reasonable because there were a good amount of roaches already out in the field. And I think if ever he did go for the Nexus, his army could have been taken out by the roach number of Nezi. So that's pretty much one of the reasons, I guess.
Spawning
Anyways,
down here in the bottom right-hand side of the ESV's Ohana, we have our Protoss player, LGD's ChEDo.
and on the top left side of the map, we do have the orange Zerg. His name is Axion Nezi. 1v1 map on Ohana. Two Sanga Towers in the middle. Very, very good map. A very average size map, I guess. But then again, it's really hard to say what's average and what's not. Third base, I believe, is pretty much an okay spot. It's pretty easy to defend, I guess, if ever you got this. If you ever secured your natural and then secured your third base, it's pretty much an easy thing to do as long as you take down those destructible rocks in the middle. And you should be a-okay whenever you do so. Now, I believe, I actually don't know what to expect from these two players on this map. What do you think is going to happen, man?
Well, I mean, from what we've seen so far, they definitely prefer the long macro game, so we're not going to see any cheeses from either player, potentially. And I mean, we might be seeing some, hopefully we'll see the Protoss go up to 3-base, because that's sort of when the Broodlord tech comes out from our Zerg player, and we're going to have to see some lengthy macro games. But, I mean, it's all going to come in time. So right now we do have that pylon down, indicating that this will be indeed a macro game. We'll have to see if he chooses to go Nexus first or Forge first, and there goes the pool. So yeah, standard stuff.
Yep. Most likely he's going to go for a Nexus first, because that's pretty much what we usually see from ChEDo here. And also the same stuff right here for Nezi, very, very standard stuff. It's like we're basically watching 5 games with the same openings every time. That's right, or 6 games actually now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's indeed same 6.
I mean, generally we're going to probably see the standard stuff. I mean, some timings for I guess for newer players, if you want to learn some timings, I guess a good timing is around the 2-minute mark. I mean, if the pool is starting, or I guess, yeah, if the pool is started around the 2-minute mark, that's generally the standard time. If as a Protoss player, excuse me, if you pop into a Zerg space and it's around the 2 or before the 2-minute mark, and you see that pool's about halfway done or already finished, you might want to go ahead and throw down that Forge, or it might even be a 6 pool. I mean, 2 minutes is generally the standard pool timing. Anything earlier than that, it's going to definitely be some sort of lane rush. So I guess just dropping some knowledge bombs real quick.
Awesome, awesome knowledge.
I guess another timing I could throw out there while we're waiting for stuff to pick up is in terms of that Zerg third base. If it's around the 5-minute mark, you want to go ahead and scout that third base, and if there isn't a third base by that 5-minute mark, generally something is going to be a Zerg's going to be playing off 2 base. Now some Zergs will go ahead and take that third base and cancel it, but generally if you're there and that third hasn't been taken by the 5-minute mark, you might want to check his natural and main, because if he has a gas, he could be doing a Baneling bust, he could be doing a Roach Rush. I mean, there's no telling what he could be doing.
Alright. Awesome knowledge bomb right there from Mr. Pixie. Now let's see if anything what he said is going to be done here by either of these players. ChEDo right now is going to be completing off his wall of floating cannon. Also at the back, he's just using this probe to dance around, not letting anything to get in there. But are we going to see a early third base right here from Nezi? Looks like there is a good amount of potential, but is he going to do it? Yes, indeed. He does have 300 minerals in the bank, and there he goes. Again, no pressure from ChEDo with pressuring the natural expansion and the third base actually. No harassment to those drones coming out and such, which is pretty questionable. But then again, it's I guess it's not really that big of a deal. But then again, if you do put down a pylon there, it's gonna be a huge deal.
Yeah, I mean, putting down that pylon, like you were saying, I've noticed that ChEDo, like you just said, doesn't really pressure that base, because sometimes you'll see a pylon get thrown down, but ChEDo's never been really one to do that. I mean, he's won games without doing it, so this is the most crucial thing in the world. They're just waiting for Warp Gate, enough gas to get Warp Gate, and from there the game really begins, because we see both players start to macro up, start to look into their investment options in terms of the tech they're going to be going.
That's true. That's actually a good way to put it. Oh, I got money now, so what do I do? What do I do with the money? So that's pretty much where it comes in now, around the 6-minute marker. So we are going to see someone go to a specific tech pad. We do have the third base almost done right here for Nezi. And we have some continuous probe production and drone production pretty much even countered here in terms of harvester. And both players even neck and neck right now in terms of food supply as well.
So we do see the Stalker come out, and we actually have 2 Zealots and a Stalker out, so I wouldn't be surprised
Ooh.
if ChEDo went ahead and pressured the third base with this small force. On top of this, we do see the Robo coming out from him. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of 7-gate push like we saw in Game 1, simply because it seems that he is, like, good at executing that. Looks like all the lings will be cleaned up, 7 drones are on the way, and he's actually going to go ahead and pressure this base, and he's going to do a sizable amount of damage. We have 8 lings on the way, which should be enough to clean up this force, but we'll have to see where he's going to go with this.
I think if ever the Stalker's is coming with these 2 Zealots, he's gonna be able to do more damage, and Nezi's gonna need more than 8 Zealots, or 8 Zerglings. But then again, ChEDo is not gonna commit to another harassment here. That's pretty weird. But then again, I guess he's just checking up to see if that third base is really there or not. And then he did see the creep.
What he did was good. He went ahead, killed some lings, and walked across the map, forced 8 lings, and then just walked home. I mean, that's some pressure right there. That's not even real pressure, but those could have been drones right there. Those 8 lings could have been 4 drones easily, and essentially that put him behind, even though he didn't actually have to attack anything. So we do see that he's going to go ahead and kill these destructible rocks, indicative of taking that third base. As we do see 3 more gateways have just been added. Mortal is now being produced, so pretty much the same stuff we saw every game. The only difference is, will he be going for that third base? The fact that he's killing these rocks tells me that yes, he will.
Yeah, most likely he is definitely gonna go for the third base. And on the other side, we do see upgrades going down. Metabolic was being researched. Missile upgrades for the 8 ground units is being researched, as well as roaches are gonna slowly pop out from his base. Going back, we do have Immortals are going out here. We do have Twilight Council on the way as well. Are we gonna see Blink Stalkers here, maybe?
Now, I would assume so. I assume Blink Stalkers is the reasonable guess. Okay, with all these sentries, only 4 gates, Twilight Council, and Robo, he's for sure getting that third base. There's nothing else he could possibly be doing right now. I mean, now, the real question is he going to go up to Colossus, or is he just going to stay? Is he just going to be maneuverable with these Blink Stalkers?
Yeah, that is true. Like what he did earlier, like he had to leave some of these Immortals because he had those Blink Stalkers just to save a couple of Stalkers. So he had to leave some Immortals. So that's not really a good sign, because you never really want to leave those expensive units alone or just leave them to die. So maybe he might make more Stalkers than usual in this game and just go for the offensive with those Stalkers.
And we do see the third base getting thrown down right now. It is spotted by our Nezi, our Zerg player. See, it does have a Ling back there who is going to go ahead and spot that third base. Is he actually going to get that probe? Oh, no. That'd be interesting if he got it. So we do see that Mortals are being produced right now to combat all these roaches, which are now walking across the map. And I mean, roaches are generally the commonly accepted response to getting that early third base. We're going to have to see if this pressure does work, because there are a lot of sentries out here, and that means a lot of force fields.
Definitely, that's a lot of sentries. Let's look at the unit tab real quick. We have 7 sentries on the field, 2 Immortals, and a Stalker, and 8 Zealots. But then again, here we go. The Roaches are coming in here right now. Gonna try to do some pressure. Gonna try to take out some buildings here as well. Is he gonna be able to do it? Yes, indeed. He forced the cancel on one of those buildings, and now is he gonna run away or gonna continue with the pressure? He needs to, I believe, just move back, I guess, or forcing him to cancel on one of these buildings. Is he gonna be able to do it? No, he is not. He might even lose one more Roach right here.
Now, if he actually loses those forge, that's a big deal. I mean, losing some gateways is fine, but if you lose that forge, that's a really big deal. That you don't want to lose that forge. Now, third base does go ahead and finish up, and this pressure won't be able enough to kill it, especially with all these Immortals. But the force fields were just not up to par. They were not good at cutting that army into the chunks that needed to be cut in. However, with all these Immortals out in the field, it might be a little easier to deal with these roaches. I mean, now those are the force fields that you need. Excellent force field. Actually has to back up a little bit to make sure all those sentries don't get sniped. However, he's going to be going ahead losing all of those roaches. More links on the field right now. I'm not sure. I mean, if Nezi's good, this pressure is good, but if he keeps committing to it, he's going to end up losing a lot more than just a handful of roaches. So he needs to be careful with how much units he just throws at this army.
Yeah, he's now down to 17 roaches, which I believe is like more than half less than what he had earlier. And we'll see if he's going to commit to this push again. More Zerglings.
He's actually going to get a lot of sentry. He's split up his army. He's actually going to get a lot of sentries, almost all of them with all of those roaches. That's what he needed to pull off. He's actually going to go ahead and get this Immortal over here now. If that Immortal can't back up, he might just have to go for the sentry instead, and he actually will go ahead and get that. Ooh, the sentry at the last second pulling off that force field. So, wow, Nezi is in a good spot right now. Or actually, he's in a medium spot because he killed off a lot of sentries, but I mean, he lost a lot of roaches, so we have to see. The tech path back at Nezi's base is still roaches. He's still committing to these roaches. He's still trying to end the game with this roach bush, still trying to prevent mining from happening. But unfortunately, he's going to have to back up. He's definitely going to have to go home, because if he keeps this up, no matter how many sentries he snipes, if he keeps losing this amount of roaches, he's not going to be in a good spot, especially if he doesn't commit to a tech path like this infestation pit that he just threw down.
Well, the key thing that ChEDo is doing here right now is that he's keeping all of his immortals alive. If you look at the immortals, one of them have 13 kills, one of them has 10 kills, and one of them has 4 kills. Like, they do already a good amount of damage to the army of Nezi, and that's actually a really, really good job right there by ChEDo. As long as those immortals are alive, he's gonna be pretty much okay. And yeah, Nezi's gonna be forced to stay out there.
And these stalkers do also indeed have blink, so it's also important to remark that the 5 console allowing him to have blink is gonna, be a factor in this engagement. Blink stalkers are, infinity more better than infinitely more better than infinity more better. So the roaches are trying to pressure this as best as possible. I mean, essentially what you want to do with this roach pressure is to force the third base to be abandoned. Force the mining to stop at that third base, and he is doing quite a good deal of pressure, sniping buildings and stuff, but he's lost around $5,000, almost $6,000 worth of roaches, whereas our Protoss players only lost around 4,000. So you need to be careful with just how much you throw away. At the same time, we do see the fourth base is being long distance mined from right now, so looks like the main base is relatively mined out. Now, interesting choice as to why he chose to long distance mine, but we do see more pressure now coming in at the third base for our Protoss.
Yeah, finally he is transitioning to Infestors, but one gateway goes down right there. That's actually a good hit right there by Nezi. But yeah, Infestors are slowly popping out with pathogen glands on the way as well, and a higher tech finally started right here by Nezi. These are pretty crucial upgrades, and also a Spire being plopped down there as well. So he is going to transition again to Broodlords very, very shortly. He doesn't see any Infestors, or he doesn't see any Colossus, so there's no need for Corruptor. So everything he makes, or every Corruptor he makes, he's gonna definitely make them into Broodlords. Here we go, a little bit of engagement right here in the middle. He was able to kill up 3 or 4 roaches with that slicing shield right there, or force field. Very, very nice play right here by ChEDo.
And we just see the Robo Bay is going down. Now, Nezi does not actually know about this Robo Bay, so like you were saying, the Corruptors will be produced solely for that Greater Spire, which is actually looks like it's being produced as well, as the Hive Tech is almost done. We see Infestors are on the field right now, paired up with these Roaches and Lings in the middle of the map, or at least they're going to be paired up. So we're probably going to see another engagement as our Protoss goes ahead and actually takes his 4th base.
Yeah, definitely. One more base actually going down right now here for Nezi, as you said, and both players are actually going for expansions here. Let's see who is going to be able to get them first, or secure them first, and abuse them to gain a little bit more advantage economically. And actually ChEDo's here is actually just doing a pretty good job holding back Nezi from engaging here, which is actually what you need to do if you are a pros player. I believe like you just want to have those 200 composition army, which is ChEDo about to get to right now, and that's going to be one of the deadly army.
Just barely behind Nezi is actually going to go ahead and max. Now, his army is actually pushing out across the map, and if he gets sandwiched by an army that he's not expecting from behind, it could be a bad spot. But it looks like it's actually going to be a base trade, as Nezi's going to go ahead and engage at the third base and try and snipe the base. I do not like it either. I mean, his base is actually his army is actually going to blink on home and snipe out all of these roaches. He could get a force field on that. Right, going to be so big, but he's actually going to blink up instead. Now, will he be able to actually snipe this base? It remains to be seen, as a lot of these units are moving in. Stalker's probably going to blink on top of that army again. He's actually not going to be able to get a snipe off and end up just losing almost 40 supply worth of units.
That was a lot of roaches wasted right there. He was trying to run away as fast as possible, but all he did was just absorb damage on all those stalkers. The Immortals was also able to do some damage on those roaches, but yeah, he did lose so much roaches in that scenario, which is never really good for you. And now he's about to lose this base right here at the left side of the map. Very, very bad situation right here for Nezi.
I mean, losing that base is really, really awful. He's also going to go ahead and spot the Corruptor, so he's going to know that Broodlords are a possibility right there. Now, 5 Broodlords are being morphed, but at the same time, we do have the Stargate go down. That's actually a pretty late Stargate. I mean, you generally like to scout that Greater Spire a little bit earlier so you can get that mothership going. However, he is going to pressure this army. Now, the Broodlords are going to finish up and are probably going to force a defense of this entire situation right now, because the Broodlords, they are going to finish, and it's going to be very hard to attack into the spine crawlers with those Broodlords there. But we're going to have to see how this Ling Roach army that's out on the map will fare against this big death ball from the Protoss army.
If you look at the Zerglings of Nezi, oh, he's gonna be able to pick up a Colossus. That's actually pretty huge right there. Very nice play. I think Nezi right now is just buying some time and keeping that army away from his main base. He tried to fake a counter attack and just tried to fake to go to the main base of ChEDo, but then again he didn't do that and just waited for ChEDo's army around the middle area of the map.
He's going to lose a lot of infestors if you're not careful. Good, actually, fungo going out on those units right now, but they are going to blink away. Or at least they should blink away if ChEDo is paying attention. Save the stalkers, ChEDo, quickly! No! Unfortunately, he is going to lose those stalkers. Now, he's actually going to go ahead with these stalkers and go ahead and snipe the 5th base again from Nezi. So this is a bad spot. Nezi really needs to secure this base. Going to force that cancel. I mean, with this 4th base operational from Nezi, there's no reason why he can't just get up to Mothership and crush this Zerg army, especially with the supply deficit that our Zerg player is currently in.
We actually have a good amount of stalkers right here in the main base. He's going to try to pick up as many key structures right here as possible. He's going to try to pick up a spawning pool. We do have Ultra Cavern on the way, and we also have Fleet Beacon on the way. Finish actually as well.
And at the same time, the 3rd base is also under fire. He's going to lose that 3rd base. He's also going to go ahead. Could he actually lose the hive? The base trade has been initiated as the Broodlords are just going, alright, we're base trading. It's a thing now. We're going to do it. And the Mothership is not even started, so this could be deadly. However, at the same time, we do see a lot of links in the main base going to be clearing up this the Stalkers who are going to blink on down to the low ground. They're in a perfect position. These Stalkers right here are absolutely fantastic. They could take out so many of these units. At the same time, the Broodlords are engaging this main army. Who is going to come out on top? It remains to be seen.
Yes, indeed. This is actually a really skinny army. If you look at Nezi's army, it's kind of skinny, but then again, there are key units right here. We have the Broodlords, we have the Infestors, we have the Corruptors. All of those are pretty good, but then again, I highly doubt that they can take out all of the army that ChEDo has right now. I think there's just too many stalkers here, and we will see. Here we go. The Broolies are going to do some damage here. Good fungal growths as well here as well by those Infestors. Is it going to be enough? That is the question. Those Corruptors are focusing their fire on the Void Race. They're not focusing on the Colossus, which might be pretty huge. Those Colossus are still alive and kicking, but then again, there is barely any more stalkers here. Very nice play, and there's no more anti-air here. Very good job right here. Nezi right now looking pretty good, taking out all these key units right here, and ChEDo right now behind. Very good engagement right there by Nezi.
And he's just going to pack up and go home. He hallucinated all those Void Rays. You do realize those Void Rays were Haluk, right?
Wow, I didn't actually know. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, not you. I was referring to Nezi. If you remember the classic Idra versus Huck game where Idra actually went ahead and just left as soon as he saw those hallucinated Void Rays. And later on, Huck was like, hey, man, you know I hallucinated those, right? And Idra was just like, yeah, okay, Huck.
Yeah, I remember.
We do see the, we do see a blink underneath, going to be tickling the underbelly of one of those Broodlords. However, the Stalkers will be getting out. I thought he was actually going to do more damage than just the one Broodlord, but the Spine Crawlers were there to save the day. We do see a lot of Stalkers out in the field. I mean, once this Mothership finishes, we could see potential for a big Vortex, which ChEDo has not been able to land yet.
I think I can utilize these stalkers to just go to one base to another, just trying to pick up as many things as possible. But again, if you look at the expansions of Nezi right now, there is a good amount of spine crawlers in one. The other one's pretty naked, but then again, I pretty much doubt that ChEDo is going to find that very quickly. All of his stalkers are on the left side, and this naked base of Nezi is on the right side. So I really think that you should go for that, but then again, I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. We do have 177 against 172 right? Both players pretty much even in food supply. And it's going to be very interesting to see who is going to be able to take lead in the next clash, as we do have Mothership almost done right here. +3 melee ground almost done as well, and also armor being researched as well, and +2 air attack being researched for the Zerg player.
Excuse me, the Mothership is out on the Mothership is out on the map right now, warping in some High Templars, no doubt, for the Archons. So now that the Mothership is out, and we do see the I assume his expansion is going to be over here on the right side of the bay of the map, as he is long distance mining right now, but has more than enough to throw on that expansion. Wow. And we do see the army in the middle. He's adding on those gateways. 50 lings actually being added right now. So
a ton of zealots right here inside the third base, or one of the bases of Nezi right now. He's actually able to kill off that hatchery. Very good pickoff right there by ChEDo, and now the stalkers right here on the other side of the map trying to pick off as many spine crawlers as possible. But again, there are a good amount of spine crawlers, and he does not want to get caught by any of those infestors' fungal growth, so he's trying to get away from that as fast as possible. Nezi right now trying to assume control of the middle of the map as well. But then here we go. Nezi is gonna continue to attack the natural, or one of the bases again of ChEDo. Is he gonna be able to break through? Looks like he is.
Here comes the mothership. Will we see a Vortex? Vortexing actually the Corruptors. That's what he always says. He Vortexes the Corruptors, but the Broodlords are still out on the map. They're still taking away all of these Stalkers, and this mothership will go down. The third base will also be lost for ChEDo, as all the Lings will be in here cleaning it up. However, now that all this pops out, the Corruptors will be killed off, along with the Colossus, if the Corruptors can stay alive for that long. One Colossus does go down. The second Colossus falls after that. So ChEDo is in a bad spot. He is 100 supply down and needs to find a way out of the situation. However, oh, Juicy Infestors! Wow. Juicy Infestors! Oh, no.
Nah. Not enough firepower. There's only 2 Stalkers right there. It's gonna take him forever to kill at least 2 Infestors. As you said right now, it is now 158 against 62 right now in favor of the Zerg player. He's in a really good position, and I'm not sure if he's gonna, if it's even a possibility that ChEDo right now can win it. What do you think, though? What do you think ChEDo has to do?
I think it's unfair. ChEDo has been playing extremely well. He's been sniping hatches. He's been making sure that Nezi can't keep these bases up, and he's still losing. He needs Archons, he needs to land a good Vortex, and he needs to be able to deal with these Corruptors, and he's not doing all of that effectively right now. I think that what we need to see is more of what we saw earlier. He needs to be blinking into this main base, he needs to be dropping Warp Prisms in that main base, he needs to be sniping more of these hatcheries on the left and right side. I mean, if he snipes his hatchery on the left, I mean, that'd basically be curtains for Nezi, because all his other bases are so tapped out right now. He only has this base on the right and the other base on the left side. So, I mean, if he loses those bases, he'd be in a tough spot. We do see 6 more Broodlords are being morphed, though. I mean, once you reach this level of Broodlords, this guy's at 8 right now, and he's in the process of making 5 more, as long as also transfusing them with his queens. I mean, like, what can you do to stop that when you don't have the economy to produce?
Yeah, that is true. And also on ChEDo's base, he's actually mining on just one base now. His only fresh batch is the only one that's mining, so that's actually not looking pretty good for him. That's why he's actually having a hard time on maxing out again. He's still below 100 food supply, which is really bad at around this point of the game. So I'm not really sure what he's going to be able to do here. There is more Broodlords on the way. ChEDo right now can't even produce anything. He's actually producing DTs now, and let's see what he's going to be able to pick off here. There are some overseers on some of the expansions here of Nezi, though, so he's pretty much well prepared to deal with DT harassments.
Listen, the DT is actually, it did actually pick away that hatch. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, as a Zerg player, you need all those hatches. We just see a Nexus going down on the far left side. I mean, that's basically with all the minerals that our Protoss player has left. But these Broodlords is such a commanding force right now. I mean, the army for ChEDo is absolutely tiny compared to it. And actually, he's going to go ahead and lose his 4th base right now. And I think that's going to be the end of it, because I don't really see a way that ChEDo is going to be able to combat this force.
Yeah, I don't think 15 Stalkers are going to be enough to deal with a bunch of Broodlords. That is a ton of Broodlords, even 18. Though if you blink on their name. Yeah, 18 Stalkers. I still don't think though.
Oh man, 18 Broodlords, not 18 Stalkers. For Stalkers,
oh,
we only
18 Broodlords.
18 Broodlords and 18 Stalkers. Hey!
It's a 1v1 match, man. I don't think the Stalkers are going to win it.
Yeah, I don't think a Stalker can take on a Broodlord in a 1v1 fight, unfortunately. I mean, 18 of these things are just chewing up everything. In the meantime, we do see, looks like to be some sort of base trade scenario is going on up here with the Stalkers at the 3rd base here. So we're going to have to see. I mean, the Stalkers are doing, a decent job at sniping these buildings, but, I mean, at the end of the day, we all know who's going to win this base trade. Unfortunately, it's going to be the Zerg player.
Yep. Even though those rulers are pretty slow, that one base of Nezi is just full of defense. So ChEDo right now can just easily take his time, just chewing through those buildings one by one. And eventually he's going to be able to win and force ChEDo to tap out here.
You see DT is taking care of the 3rd base over here. And he's actually going to go ahead and engage this base over here. However, with all these, all the infestors, it's unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be able to do too much damage. So we are, unfortunately, probably going to see the end of it. Because one fungal, along with all those spine crawlers, is going to do terrible damage. And with the Broodlords eating away at that base, I don't really foresee a way that ChEDo can come back.
Yeah, there's too many spine crawlers here to break through, and I don't think that's enough Stalkers to do that. But anyways, yeah, on the bottom side right now, slowly chipping away on those gateways. I believe this is pretty much it. Yeah, no chance at all for ChEDo to win it. Unfortunately for him, he even did an amazing performance actually here in this whole tournament, reaching the losers semifinals. But then again, he couldn't beat the guy who put them in the losers bracket in the first place.
Unfortunately, there is the last of his army. Unfortunately, it's going to be taken down, it seems. Now, the Broodlords are going to eat away at his main base. He's just trying to find something he could possibly do to go ahead and take this base out. But with all those infestors here, I don't think it's going to happen. So all the gateways on his main base are going to be, fortunately, taken out. A lot of zealots from his 4th base being warped in. But I don't foresee really anything that can be done from Nezi. And here he goes. He's going to finally discover this 4th base. And with it, push and end the game.
Yeah. I think by now, ChEDo's just gathering himself, like, you know, he's trying to focus on where he made the wrong mistakes and such, like, you know, gathering himself up and maybe just prepare for a tournament tomorrow or maybe the next day, because I'm pretty sure he's gonna continue on competing on other small tournaments like Play himself and such, and that's pretty much a good thing. That's pretty much a competitor's heart right there.
Actually,
Definitely.
Nezi does not know about this base down here in the right side, just skirting
Still.
past that. That's really interesting. But, I mean, with that being said, I mean, what can you really do off one base? All your production is gone. You only have so much. Your supplies at 35. He's going to go ahead and try to snipe the main base right now as Overseers do get morphed. And we do see a lot of Lings in production right now. Nezi has to rebuild a lot of his tech, but there goes the final DT, and I think that's going to be curtains for him. I mean, I don't really know what to say, guys. It's not really much you can say in a situation like this where, you know, someone's lost, but it's just, you know, still trying to give it their best effort. It's commendable.
Commendable, but again, it's not really gonna be that rewarding. If he's still trying, like, that's gonna be more heartbreaking if he is. But yeah, I don't think there is any way to come back at this game. I'm pretty sure he's curious where the Nexus is because the message hasn't popped out. But again, there you go. The GG finally raised right here by ChEDo.